All right, well, let's get to the phone lines. We've got Scott on the line from Whistler. Hey there, Scott. What's your question tonight?
Hey, Scott.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Hey, buddy.
Doing great.
My question is, if you go into Mardi Gras downtown or any other place here in South Alabama that has, Mardi Gras parades, I would like for Bill Eiland to explain, in those areas you're going to have a lot of people either driving around drunk or, walking around drunk. I would like for Bill Eiland to explain how important it is for all men and women as part of their automotive insurance to have uninsured motorist coverage on them.
Yep.
To cover you in case that happens.
Yeah, and Scott, thank you for that question. And we actually, we've got a segment later in the show about uninsured motorist coverage. But again, you have to think about it this way. 1 out of every 3 drivers in the state of Alabama, everybody is required to have liability coverage, but 1 out of 3, all right? So 30%, maybe in some counties up to 40%, the person on the other side, if you have an accident with them, there's 30 to 40% chance that they're not going to have liability coverage. Now, you may say, well, how can that be? Because you're required by law and you have to go to the DMV to get your tag or your license. Well, what happens a lot of times, those people will go in, they'll show their license or their insurance, and then let's take insurance for example. They show their insurance card, and then 30 days later, they don't pay their premium. Well, that's going to be canceled. And so now there's no insurance on the other side. Even though they have a card that says it and this and that and the other, then they don't have it. That's why it is imperative upon you to have uninsured motorist coverage, which covers you in case the other side had 0 insurance or not enough insurance. And Eaton, I know you do a lot of this. So expound on that a little bit more about why it's so important for someone to have uninsured motorist coverage.
Yeah, Bill, it's the one thing I tell every one of my clients to buy because A, it's one of the least expensive insurance coverages, and B, it's the only coverage that you can buy that protects you. You don't want to have to rely on the person who caused this wreck to protect you. You need to protect you. So I encourage everyone who's listening to this to get as much uninsured motorist insurance coverage as they can buy.
And a lot of times people say, well, I have a car, my car is not worth having full coverage on. It's only worth $1,000. It's an old junker. Well, that's fine, but you still have to have liability coverage. You don't have to necessarily have collision on that. Collision is if you're backing up and you hit a tree and it's your fault and, to get that vehicle repaired. Well, if your car is only worth $1,000 and you cause $5,000 worth of damage, obviously that's not going to work. But you still, no matter what, no matter how much your car is worth, you need to have uninsured motorists, because guess what? If you or your family member gets injured because someone didn't have any insurance or not enough. And when I say not enough, let's say that, the minimum requirements in Alabama is $25,000. Let's say they have $25,000, but you have $50,000 worth of medical bills. Well, something has to, give in that. The other insurance company is not just going to, out of the goodness of their heart, write you a check for 50. And the person that caused the accident, they're not going to have the money to pay you anything. So that's why you need to protect yourself with your own insurance. And just like Eaton said, it's very inexpensive. I mean, you can get it for less than $100 a year, not a pay period or a month or whatever, but a year or two. And so it's very inexpensive. You need it. And absolutely, if you have any questions, call a lawyer that knows about this, because insurance companies, a lot of times, even your own agent doesn't quite understand how all this works.